5 years ago, I realized the childhood dream stood in this very position where I got my first dream seadoo. Fast forward 5 years, and boy oh boy, what a journey we've been on. Roger, Roger, 10-4. I came back to the Jetworks in Kent to see Tom to pick up a new ski. Can you guess what it is? Put it in the comments right now. So it's only fitting that I came back to where it all started to pick up arguably one of the most asked for classics to add to our collection. So Tom, let's see it. I've been very excited to see it.
Here we go.
Can we guess what it is? Oh my God.
There's not many of them left.
It looks like a time capsule. It's clean, isn't it?
Like I said to you on the phone, Joe, the photos don't really do it justice. So when you actually see it up close and personal, you can kind of see.
Every single one of my followers has said, Joe, you've got the 717, but you need the big brother, which is the 787. It's clean as well.
Very clean.
So Tom, this is the bit of the video of you being a dealer and you've been in and around these. I want you to give us a really good spill on the history of the 787, if you can, and why it was so iconic. It's stunning, man. Talk to me.
So I suppose the SPX in this iteration was quite important because it was the last of the carburetted 787s.
Right.
So it was the last opportunity in this SPX before they went to the RFI, the injection model, that you could have a proper kind of old school carburetted, perky little motor. I mean, the 787 was always a really sort of strong motor, but obviously twinned with the 951, obviously in the bigger machines, they were often overlooked, you know, because people were wanted, you know, maximum kind of power performance. But I've always maintained that the 800 in a small, light little hole like this was a really good recipe for a fun bit of riding.
Well, the X4s are just so iconic, aren't they? They were just race machines. Everyone raced them, and there was actually outrage. A lot of the people that raced back in the day told me how when it went to the parabolic V, so the spring seat XP in '97, they obviously kept the 787 in it, and everyone was like, no, 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 no. And apparently the reason they kept the SPX for so long is because people still loved this variation of the X4 hull, even though they'd moved on to, you know the one I mean, don't you? Like the spring seat XP Limited.
I mean, design-wise, you know, the XP, when it came out, 95.6, the suspension seat, then came after that. You know, it was such a different design.
Yeah, completely different.
I think almost people were a little bit wary of it, whereas this was fairly traditional in its build. You know, it wasn't overly complicated. You know, and it took a little bit of a technique to ride it as well. It wasn't sort of, you know, too bargy, too big like the GTXs and things like that.
It's clean, so give me the story. You told me a little bit on the phone. Everyone loves the romanticism of, you said something to the effect of these were given away for free or something?
Not quite. I mean, obviously, you know, that's always the hope, but this particular one, I've actually known and been involved with for quite a few years. So back in 2014, when they released the Spark, one of our customers, who owns quite a large Sunseeker boat, had this in the back of it. And he wanted something that was a little bit more modern, a bit more stable, didn't really understand what this machine was. So came to us and said, look, I need you to, you know, supply me with a Spark to go into the garage that's on my Sunseeker, which we don't get asked very often. So when we do, we kind of go, that sounds a bit exciting, we'll get involved in it. So went to Chatham Dockyard where the boat was. The guy opened up the garage on this great big boat, and this was tucked away inside. Did a bit of research, spoke to a few guys that were supplying these back, you know, when they were new. Yeah. And if you were lucky enough at the time to buy a certain model of Sunseeker yacht, you got a seadoo SPX or a rib or of your choosing. But this was a little promo that they used to do. You know, if you bought a certain model of ski, a certain model of boat, you got this ski because it was made almost to fit in the garage.
Dimensionally it fit.
Dimensionally to fit, and you know, it looked really cool. and it was kind of, you know, suited that sort of lifestyle that they were selling.
It's like a playful toy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of what we spoke about quite a lot. When you look at these, I mean, inherently, you just think toy.
Yeah.
So you think of a back of, I mean, and that's what the Spark has done very well. You see a lot of the modern sort of yachts and stuff, they have the Sparks on the back. So the Spark is the modern day equivalent to it.
No, totally. So long story short, we did a deal. We took this off the guy and supplied him with a new Spark. We modified the handlebars to fit in the same height. And a couple of other areas that needed changing to suit.
How close is the Spark to this in terms of dimensionally?
Dimensions-wise, you could almost fit this inside a modern Spark.
So I wanted to pick your brains. There's the theory that when they were modelling the 2014 Spark, they went back to essentially the X4 hull, and that is kind of what they used as the lightweight, playful entry philosophy. There was like a code name CAF or something, I want to say, as to the buzzword as to what they did with the Spark. And I know
Spark was the code word, production code word for Spark.
Right.
So with other machines, so like the GTX, the top of the line, that code name was Orca, because they had certain design parameters they wanted to meet in order to create that type of machine. But you're right, the whole design on
it's got to be similar, right?
Is similar in theory, because it's very flat and very smooth edged. So you're not going to get, you know, bitten if you really pull it into a turn. They're quite forgiving, a little bit slappy, but again, you've got something that doesn't really weigh a lot, and is designed just to be lightweight and playful. So yeah, it was a good comparison actually, and to ride, these are obviously a little bit more top heavy. Yeah. Spark's a little bit more stable.
Oh, the Sparks are definitely for sure easier to ride.
But
These are...
it suited the customer's needs at the time perfectly. It was a great kind of step up from what he'd already had. Because I think when he first rode this, he spent most of his time swimming after it, you know, because he couldn't quite get the hang of it. So as I say, we supplied him the Spark. We took this in part exchange. You
can tell it's clean. I mean, we've seen a lot of different X4s, and you know, even this. I mean, yeah, okay, it's gone a little bit, but that's savable. Most of the time, these are gone. You know, because that's where your thighs rub again. When you ride these correctly and you lean back, you put all your weight. What I quite like about the SPXs as well is a classic thing with the XPs, which we're always terrified of, is what they call the bacon rasher effect, where your foot matting looks really wavy, where the rivets are not strong enough. So by them essentially removing some of the technical, like the things that would have been desirable and just putting it on the back, you can actually grab adhesive under there to get those down. Yeah, so it's kind of a plus that it doesn't have foot matting, because you don't have the concern of it going bumpy.
Back in the day, whenever we were taking something like this in part exchange or buying one in, for example, it would always be quite an indication as to how it had been treated.
Exactly.
So, for example, if one had been just left outside in the elements, then you could tell, you know. But I think a little bit of wear and tear on something this age is actually quite characterful. It's quite nice. I mean, I know purists such as yourself like them to be completely immaculate.
I'll take this and get it to 100%. But this, in terms of what I'm looking for, it's not messed with. It's original as it can be. Yes, there's little bits, like we can sort the grips out and stuff. That's not hard to do.
But I think it's quite nice that it's not been covered up. It's not had too much in the way of people messing around with it. I mean, the engine is completely original.
Is it? No. Hey. They're always missing. Result.
That smell.
But yeah, no, it's testament. I mean, the story with it as well is quite exciting. I know we spoke about the pad, but that to me is potentially like, when I was thinking about it, is it maybe that there was like a garage or an opening or something that it was knocking against when it was moving around?
No, not at all. Not at all. So
I was trying to like work out, because I've seen a lot of pads, but that's quite an odd
bit of a story with that, and the guy owned up to it. It had gone a bit black.
So he tried to
he tried scrubbing it with a scraper, and hence the marks.
Before you was born. The smell.
Proper fiberglass.
Oh, the smell, the fuel and everything. It just takes me back.
No, that makes sense what you just said. He tried, because these go really mouldy, but
he was trying to scrub it and scrape it, and
the gauges are actually quite good. Normally all the paint peels off.
Like, as far as I know, other than it being in the boat, it's been kept indoors. So, you know, fairly limited.
You can tell.
Kind of
I mean, yes, the decals have got little nicks on it, but that's normal. I mean, the fact they're not faded or anything, normally a lot of these get left in the sun. These always go horrible. Have you seen when these go
Yeah,
bad?
yeah, all
They get
sticky. You'll find as well, like things like the bumpers start shrinking back on each other. You know, these go white before the bumper because they're dissimilar materials. See, little things that, you know.
The only thing
It
is
just
a
can't be
shame
helped.
is they moved away, didn't they, from like vibrant engine colours. They just went silver because they probably thought late 90s, let's make everything uniform. A lot of the GSX had silver pipes and stuff, whereas these are, on the original XPs were like, I think this was purple, engine was white, I want to say.
Yeah, but again, Joe, as you've probably found, you know, you can tell if something's been apart before. This is all original paint, nothing's been covered over. All of the core plugs in the tune pipe, none of them are rotted. All the bolts have still got paint
These
on
a lot
them.
of the time ended up
You
needing
know,
to get
it's
welded, so they're good.
just little things that I'm sure you're well aware of, but just make it kind of a little bit more special that it hasn't been messed around with or
This is different.
You know, abused.
That's different to what I've seen. I've not seen that before with the battery. On the GSXs, it just sits in like a grey tray.
Is it easier?
There's a battery back further.
No, I mean this whole assembly, it actually sits within the assembly. It's quite cool.
On top.
No, so on the GSXs and the XP on the back is over there, the battery on the 717.
Yeah, so they moved to this this style. It was mainly on this hull. It used to be up by the fuel tank. You'd have a grey box.
That's what I got, yeah.
And then obviously they started putting them up high, like the RXs, GSXs were all at the back.
I did spot that.
But-
so I grew up, his friend had one of those, newish, wasn't it? At the RX. Is that a carb or a DI?
I don't know if it's before your time. There's a guy called Ron who used to own Offshore Performance years ago, before they got the people got now. They used to be over the end of the site of where they were now, and he bought it from them.
But I had great childhood memories riding the 95. Is that a carb or a DI?
That's a DI.
But anyway, where I was going with that is, that I think that's what you're talking about, isn't it? They changed sort of like the battery positions as they went later.
It's little bits of evolution that you know you kind of notice across the years. I mean, you've got enough of them now to kind of pinch together where they've changed bits over the years and how they've evolved.
These are always normally missing as well.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise this until a year or so ago that it's all very clever, the engineering. So when you look at the vents, it flows through there, which you think that's just an aesthetic thing. And then that obviously links up with there. So it's like quite clever the way the seats work, which is why you always look to see if these guide rails are...
I mean, the theory behind all the ventilation is good in theory, but it never actually works in the real world with regards to keeping the water out. So the reason for that tube obviously going down into the hull is if it was ever to go upside down, in theory the water would have to breach that level to be able to get into the hull. But as you well know, the hoods, the seats, they're
wet. They're always wet. They're all wet
ride.
skis. Amazing. Well, I think there's only one thing left for you to do to wow us. Do you know what it is? You've got an old two-stroke Tom. It looks pretty. What do all my followers want to not necessarily see? You've got to start it up for us.
Got to start it up. So
This is where he gets now.
Yeah, it's not quite a spark, but... That's impressive.
done.
Then you'll all have to
That's
wait
it,
to see me ride it for the first time because you know you shouldn't be running a ski when it's not on the flush. And an age-old question, water before or after you start an engine? We have this debate all the time.
Oh, after.
Good man.
Always.
Good man.
Always.
It always makes me cringe when you see the videos and they've got like the water on for ages and they're trying to get it going. And key, can we program a key while I'm here?
You certainly can.
I'll go grab it.
Have you got a spare key? I'll go and get my laptop.
Yeah, I've got a new one. So you can see I've already tracked down some virtually perfect ones with the end caps. But I wanted to pick your brains on this. Have you noticed this? Seadoo have started to change from the round ones where it always said des, so that's like your period correct, to then the oval.
Yeah. So they changed them. So in 2009, when they brought out the first of the electronic throttle controlled models,
Right.
they changed the frequency of the operating platform. So
Right.
they went more reliant on CAN bus rather than traditional, switched power system. So in essence, you could use the new style key across the board, but you couldn't use an old style key on anything ITC and above because the DES frequency was different. So in the diagnostic terms, this runs on what's known as KWS 2000.
Right. I knew
This
it, no.
one is KWS 2000/500K, so it's a slightly higher frequency electronic system. So they upgraded the chip in the oval keys just to compensate with the much higher frequency communication of the bike.
Got it. It's got to be period correct. So that should be.
It's got to be the round one, yeah.
It's got, yeah. So that's what I thought. When you look at the keys, right, guys, you should have that des underneath. That would be what it would have came with. And it's not until you saw the DIs that we had the learner key. So the learner key was with the direct injection, wasn't it, Tom?
Yes. So anything. I was about to say anything injection, but that's not strictly true. So anything 951 DI and higher, so DI 4 Tech and up, you could have the learner key functionality. On the 800 RFI, for example, which again, still DES enabled, still injection, you didn't have the facility to have that.
Right. For me, a key has always been the final little piece of the puzzle, you know, if you don't have a nice key. Taking open packs, Tom, is kind of like, in itself, it's kind of hard because you just know once it comes out of the pack, look at that. I don't think even on clean ones that I found, so I bought some one owner skis and the keys never, it's very, very rare that the bungee cord will have stood the test of time. Because I think in the actual 90s, the rubber just degraded.
Yeah, so we used to replace quite a few keys just through sort of safety concerns more than anything. They used to become quite weak on the cut. You know, if you went to wipe your goggles or something like that and pulled the key off,
Pass that over to you. Voila. I've never actually seen a key be programmed. It's just a joy to see someone at least still entertaining a conversation about them. Because all you dealers, right, have the knowledge of them.
Well, Joe, I will give you one of them really nice seadoo rash vests with the retro graphics on them. If you can answer me a simple question. If you get within 5 hours of the true hours of this machine, obviously there's no gauges. You don't know how many
You don't have an hour meter, I know.
Don't have an hour meter. How many hours do you think this machine's done?
I would say this has got something like 57, 67 hours on it. This is where it's like 500 hours.
16 hours and 25 minutes.
Wow. This is a little... This is
16 hours and 25 minutes.
That low?
Wow.
I mean, it adds up. It's clean. Apart from the guy getting handy with a scraper, we'll let him out. We'll let him off because these pads do go bad.
Yeah.
The rubbers on these and these, although that looks like the compound is slightly different to my 95. So they might have changed it, but on my 95 you can tell it's like a rubbery material. 16 hours. That's bonkers. Barely not been broke in. What's your stance, Tom, on sparks? 5 hours, 10 hours, oil change at 10 hours, ride it hard from the get-go? What do you say? Oh, obviously he's not going to say ride it hard from the get-go because he's a dealer. But
No. I mean, all of the modern stuff, as you probably well know, has got its own built-in running-in period. So it restrains you from overpowering it and over-revving it for the first 5 hours. So every hour for the first 5 hours, you'll notice that it will maybe get a little bit more responsive, a bit more powerful. So in my mind, 10 hours has always been the benchmark of when you do your first inspection, oil and filter change. That contradicts what Seadoo
5 hours
say, which is 50 hours.
For the break-in, I mean, in their booklet, because I read it like a nerd.
Yeah, so
they say 5 hours, right? But you're talking about
programmed break-in is 5 hours.
Yeah.
In my opinion, a break-in is when you do your first oil and filter change.
Exactly, yeah.
Your first inspection, your first maintenance, just to verify that everything is as it should.
So I did that at 10 hours. That felt sensible to me.
Yeah. So that to me is kind of, you know, because you obviously use your skis a lot more than most people. A lot of guys don't do 10 hours a year.
So they struggle to get their ski broken in a season.
Yeah. So if you were going on the book, then it would be 50 hours or 1 year, you know.
Really?
Yeah. So all of the modern machines are 50 hours or 1 year, which in my opinion is too much. The way
Let's
people
play
perceive
that
it.
game again, Tom. So ask him now, because he wasn't here, how many hours he thinks it has.
Oh, yeah.
This ski.
Yeah.
He's been able to plug it in, because this doesn't have an hour meter, because it's older. They don't actually have them like on a DI or a...
Looking at it, I think is 16.
He's got good hearing, hasn't he? He's got good hearing, hasn't
Yeah, how many hours is it? Seriously, I haven't. That was just a
he?
wild
16 hours, 25 minutes.
Oh, you're right, mate. It's 25
Sorry,
minutes.
mate.
He likes to look impressive on
I didn't
the...
miss stuff. No, I didn't.
So guys, I finally got a 787. You moaned for so long, so hit the subscribe button because next time I'm going to explain why I've purchased it and you'll see me out for the first time. I've only ever been on a 717, so it's going to be a bit of a change getting on the 787. Everyone says it's got a lot more pull in the mid-end, so I'm really excited to experience that.